All right. Good morning. We are coming to you live straight from Las Vegas. I'm Gianni the Greek, and this is Bet with Ace for Thursday. Now, I tell you when I win, and I tell you when I lose, and we are coming off a losing Wednesday. That's correct. In fact, I lost my 5% bet on the under 6 in the NHL game, and we even lost a little bit in baseball. The bottom line is this. We manage risk correctly, and that's why we are sitting where we are. And let's go over results, because that's the bottom line. You need to be transparent. If you're going to put your information out there, you owe it to your supporters and your detractors to lay out your numbers and let them speak for you, because all of us can bullshit, all of us can talk and hype, but at the end of the day, numbers do not lie. And here's where I sit. You already know I turned a profit 8 of the last 9 years. You also know that over the last 365 days, I'm number 1 in profit at Wager Talk. I'm going to check it out right now. Over the last 30 days, I'm number 2 at Wager Talk. I've given out over 300 bets. I have an over 4% ROI, and I picked up over 37 units. That's the numbers. Now, what's most important is how are we doing over this year so far? About 5 months in, well, we are sitting at over 60 units of profit. I'll take it. Here's why. Let's do some math. Remember how I urge you to bet 0.25, 0.50, 0.75, 1%, and 1.25. That keeps our risk of ruin as low as possible while still maximizing our profit and taking advantage of our edge. So what does that mean? If you have a $10,000 bankroll, you're betting 25, 50, 75, 100, and 125 based on a rating of a 1%, 2%, 3%, 4%, or 5% that we use at Wager Talk. Obviously, Nobody that's trying to be a profitable sports bettor is betting 5% of their bankroll on plays every day. You're going to go broke doing that. That's a mathematical certainty. That's not my opinion. That's factual. The only question is how long it's going to take you before going broke. I will continue to repeat this because nothing is more important than risk management. You could be the best handicapper on the planet. You could be the best predictor. You could even see the future. But if you don't bet size correctly and overbet your edge, you're not going to be able to turn a profit. You're going to lose like 99.5% of the bettors. So yes, if you're tired of hearing this, go somewhere else. There's thousands and thousands of people out there giving free picks. But what are the results? What are the long-term results? Don't tell me your last 10 bets, your last 20 bets, your last 100 bets. They mean nothing to me. They have no statistical significance. Tell me your last 1,000, 2,000, 5,000. That's how I know whether to follow the information or fade it, whether you're plus EV or not. So over the 2024 year, I've given out over 1,200 bets already. 1,200 bets. That's statistical significance. Only 5 months in, I have almost a 2% ROI. And again, up over 60 units. Now let's do the math. 60 units, you're like, okay, so what does that actually mean? Let's say you started with a $10,000 bankroll. Well, we're betting 25 a unit. Remember, 25.25. If you got a $100,000 bankroll, we're betting 250 a unit. Now, at 25 a unit, let's do a little math. 25 times 60, up 1,500 on a $10,000 bankroll. That's 15% increase to capital. I haven't had any hot streaks. I haven't been crushing it. We've simply been grinding. And even with your overhead of paying for a service, paying for your internet, paying for your electricity, paying for your time, at the minimal, you're up double-digit return on capital, over 10%. Again, not too many investments out there that are going to give you 10% return on capital within 5 months. Within 5 months, that's not risking your freedom. That much I can promise you. And again, last year we increased it by 80%. But that all came later in the year. As football came, as the end of the baseball season, that's where we did it all. We did it all in baseball. The reason I've taken up all this time, in fact, a few minutes, 4 minutes, talking about long-term results is because that's what matters most. Transparency. If you can't tell me what you're up this year, what you did last year, what you've done the last 5 years, then I don't want to hear who you like today. It's irrelevant. It's irrelevant. It's like flipping a coin. It's flipping a coin, and we don't want coin flippers here, okay? So we don't have much on the board today. Again, please go down, subscribe. More importantly, hit that like button. That's all I ask. I'm going to do this every single day for you. I'm going to share out so much gold on top of plays premium plays, leans, futures, props, as much information as I possibly can, multiple markets, and finally the education. That's what you really need to pay attention to. I went broke multiple times with winning information. Many of you know my story. I was a runner on the strip when we had more information than the sports books could ever have. This was like pre-freaking cell phones. We were using beepers, so you understand. And books didn't have the line services they have today. So you had different lines, just property to property, significant differences. So beating them was a lot easier than it is today. Our edge was greater. The betting syndicate's edge was greater than it'll ever be again. With all that said, I still managed to go broke multiple times. That's correct. I lost multiple bankrolls while having access to the winningest information on the planet at that time. I was betting for the most profitable and respected syndicates at the time. And yet again, I managed to go broke over and over and over again. Why? Because once they had a cold streak, I mismanaged my risk and I'd go broke. And then when they went hot and made their profit, I wasn't even around to share in that and all that glory. The only way that doesn't happen to you is minimizing your risk of ruin. That's it. I will keep repeating it. We will go over the exercises every single day, like calisthenics, 0.25, 0.50, 0.75, 1%, 1.25. Why? It's not because I don't think you could remember it. It's because it needs to be automatic. Your bet sizing should have already been predetermined on January 1st. The only reason you would ever adjust it is if you increased or decreased bankroll by more than 50%. Otherwise, you should not be trying to figure out every day how much I'm going to bet. You already got one strike against you. So bet size, bet size, bet size. That's what matters most. And I will tell you every single day whether I won or I lost. Because until you handle losing, you're never going to be able to win. I don't shy away from it. I embrace it. I embrace it. I know it's part of the journey. So I don't let it ruin me. That's all you have to do. Now, let's talk about some Major League Baseball. I'll give you a 4% play I gave out earlier. I gave out Minnesota Twins at minus 122 to subscribers. That's 4% play. Minnesota, Minnesota, Minnesota. Now, that was my play. I told you I use a lot of Pythagorean system here as far as wins and losses go. True wins and losses based on runs scored, runs allowed. I look for teams that I think are undervalued, teams that are overvalued. I look for teams that I think are playing below their capabilities, above their capabilities, looking for teams that are lucky or unlucky, because that's all going to change. We all revert back to the mean. All of us do. That's just factual. So I hit Minnesota at about minus 122, and no surprise, betting syndicates came in about an hour later on Minnesota at minus 145. Fortunately for my subscribers, I already gave it out at less than 125, minus 125. So we placed a good bet. Win or lose, that's the job. Win or lose, that's the job. We got down Minnesota minus 122. It's minus 150 now. Kick your feet up. You're a mathematical certainty to turn profit long-term if you could repeat that process over and over and over and over again. That's the bottom line. Regardless of whether Minnesota wins or loses tonight, I could give two fucks. What matters to me most is, did I put in a plus EV bet? Well, look at our betting line and look what the betting line is right now, or more importantly, where it closes. And I think you'll conclude we placed a plus EV bet. That doesn't mean we're guaranteed a win. What that guarantees is if we could repeat the process, we will be in that 0.5% of people that are able to beat the sports books. That's the bottom line, because bad bets win all the time. Right now, as I'm doing this, I'm in Las Vegas. I could walk down the street. There's a casino not far from me, and there's somebody that just hit a number on roulette. They just hit a number and got paid 35-1. Was that a good bet? Of course not. You couldn't find a worse bet than that. I mean, you probably could if you search, but it's pretty hard to find a worse bet. Why? Because we already know there's 38, 39 numbers on the roulette wheel. You're getting paid 35-1. How could that be a good bet? A good bet would be if you got paid 40-1 and the true odds were 38-1. Then you play it all day, win or lose. You know you're getting the best of it. The edge is yours. Kind of like a coin flip. If I give you 10-1 on the next coin flip, you got to take it. As long as the coin ain't fixed, it's not a funny coin, you got to take that bet. Now we're going to flip it one time. Anything's going to happen. We're 50-50 at that spot. But the fact that I'm giving you 10-1 puts you in that plus EV situation. That's what you need to search out every day. Find that coin flip that's giving you 2-1, 1.5-1, 1.25-1. Shit, if you could find 2-1, 3-1, then you unload. But that's what we're looking for. That coin flip That's 50-50 where we're getting greater than that. That's the bottom line. That's what we did with Minnesota. So win or lose, we did our job. Now, here's a couple other Steam plays that I moved for these groups, but I did not confirm as premium plays for my subscribers. I have to like it myself as well, or have to get confirmation with other groups with the different filters that I run the plays through. 953 under 7 Arizona New York Mets. I bet that. 963 under 7.5 Detroit Boston. I bet that. And 961 Houston plus money. I bet that. Those were for the syndicates. We also bet over 3.5 team total for Houston. Now, you want to follow, you want to fade, you want to ignore, that's on you. What I do is I move for these different groups. I take a percentage of each account because I know they're going to win long term. They've proven that to me over the years. So obviously I want these sides to win, but I'm not willing to bet more of my money on top of it or urge my subscribers to bet them, especially some of the lines will have moved once we get down. So we're on the Minnesota side. Let me look at baseball real quick for you, tell you if anything else is jumping out. Milwaukee Cubs, I pass. I say Arizona Mets. So I take that back. I like the Mets side. Mets is a home dog. I think that's a decent spot for them. Washington, Atlanta. Atlanta wins that one, probably on the run line as well. That one's up to 9 with the under favored, but I saw some 8.5s earlier, so probably took some over money. Yeah, we like the run line there. And then Oakland, Tampa Bay. That looks like a pass to me. Gun to head, I'm going over 8.5. Kansas City, Minnesota. Well, you know what we're on there. We're on Minnesota minus 122, all the way up to minus 145. That's what the betting syndicates came in at. Houston, Seattle, El Paso, Detroit, Boston. The Sharps went under. And Yankees, LA. Woo, gun to head. We're going under now that it's at 8.5, but nothing I'm going to get involved in. Like I said, Minnesota is the 4% play for me today. That's only 1% of bankroll. Remember, 0.25 of 4% is what? 1%. So you got 10 grand, you're betting $100. It's not going to make you. It's not going to break you. It's repeating the process over again. So that's what we got in Major League Baseball. Let's look at the NBA. We got the Mavericks and the T-Wolves. We already talked about it. A team playing at home, down 3-1, usually wins this game. They don't win the series, but they usually win this game. I like how it sets up for Minnesota. I do think they get the win here, but I'm not willing to lay the 4.5, obviously. In fact, a hedge would be take the 4.5 with Dallas, since we have that future bet pending on Minnesota at 16-1. We could get a little back by taking the 4.5 now on the Mavericks. And if Dallas wins this game, then we limit our loss on the series. If Minnesota wins within 1 to 4 points, that's the best case scenario. So I'm going to think whether we're going to do that a little later. Still more information coming in. Want to see what the groups that bet NBA do, especially with their props. A lot of times the props will tell me the story, even though we can't use them because the lines move too quickly. And I'd be sending you guys dead numbers, which I never do to my subscribers. I just can't have that. I'm never going to do that to you, but it helps me put the story together by what they're betting. Are they betting team players over? Are they betting them under? You can kind of see some things out of that. Now, like I said, I personally, I'm cheering in Minnesota. I think Minnesota wins this game. If I was going to bet, I'd bet the money line. Anything less than minus 2-1, I do think they win this game 2 out of 3 times straight up at home. Now, real quickly, let me go to UFC. I'm doing a UFC on the line today, which I'll be betting my $1,000 bet on. Those that have been following the show, you know the damage I've done. Had 1 losing show this entire season. That's correct. We're now at the end of May. June 1st is a day or 2 away, and I've had 1 losing show out of them all. I've been on point there. The MMA this year, I'm just rock solid. So you want to check that out. Real quickly, let me give you some leans because we had a production meeting, and I have to give them what I like then so they could kind of put the script together and all the graphics and shit. So Makhachev Poirier under. Strickland over Costa and the over. Holland Olechechek, nothing yet. Almeida Romanov, nothing yet. Randy Brown Zaleski. Give me Zaleski at plus money. Kopolov, Cesar Almeida. I like Cesar Almeida there. I like them better as a dog, though. Grant Dawson, Selecki. Dawson should get the bounce back win here, but the price is just way too high. Phil Rowe, Jake Matthews. Matthews way too high. Phil Rowe, live dog. Nico Price, Alex Morono, let it go. Mickey Gall against Hafez. Basil's going to get this win. Price is just way too high. Edwards Perez. I'm probably going to let that one go. The Edwards Perez side. If I gun the head, Edwards, Lima Raposo, we're going to let that go. Those are leans. Nothing confirmed. Haven't shot out any premium plays yet. I have my card. I'm ready to fire, but these lines are kind of moving in a direction which are more beneficial. So just as important as what you're going to bet is when you're going to bet. So went even longer than I thought, but sometimes we go off on those rants. So please, please, please subscribe, hit that like button. So I don't know what I was moving for, but here's what you need to do. Hit that like button. More importantly, comment. I need to know what you guys want, what you want me to share. I share what I have in front of me at that time. Like I don't have MLS today. I don't have WNBA or stuff like that. Whatever I have, I try to share. But is there anything else you want to dig deep on? You know, there's two things that I believe I'm a lead at, world class. That's being able to beat the sports betting market and being able to beat the game of blackjack. If you want to learn anything about those two things, you're at the right place. Don't be shy about asking any question. There's no such thing as a stupid question. Ignorance is not a bad word. It just means you haven't been taught. You shouldn't know half of this shit anyway. I love you guys. I appreciate you more than you know. Please, please, please hit that like button. Share this more importantly. And just going to keep doing damage every single day. We ain't going anywhere every single day. Love you guys. Peace.